Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Bitcoin 43,800 plus, Ethereum 3,100 plus, and we see XRP at the number 6 spot now at 87 cents. We're up more than 38%. It was 39% a little earlier. I had a copyright issue with the video I did earlier, so I'm redoing this video today. So hang with me here. We're going to get started and get on a flow here. Cardano is coming in at $1.20. Solana now at the number 8 spot at $113.82. Let's look at the price range for XRP really quickly. 89 cents is what we're looking at here. And 80 cents on the bottom and 90 cents on the top. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get started here. Link 2 will be up here one day too. What we're talking about is the actual size of these companies and where they rank, like Tesla and Gucci and Toyota and many, many others. I'm not going to play the video because it may have some copyright content in it. However, it is only a matter of how soon and how tall Link 2 will become. And Link 2 is the company that brings all of this private equity opportunity to all of us. You must be accredited, but I can tell you at the same time that they're bringing these products, these amazing products like these right here, Ripple, Uphold, BitPay, Link 2, Vero, and look, and I mean, we know Kraken when it's available and so many others. Look, some of these are automation, robotics, AI. I mean, you should really look at all of these companies. Whoop was a new one about like maintaining your health with a watch that monitors everything about your health throughout the day, exercise, the whole bit. Really incredible products. Make sure you check them out. Let's get started into this. Some clarity from the reporting that we had gotten from Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terrett from Fox Business News. There was some confusion in interpretation of Charles Gasparino's tweet and maybe some of the reporting as well. I asked him to clarify if the source they were talking to was referencing the President's Working Group report or if they were referencing the executive order and whether or not it was specifically citing XRP in either one of those. Well, we had it cleared up, and basically Eleanor Terrett had said to me that, you know, it was a report from the White House that is being cited by a source, and it is basically speaking to all of crypto, which could be harmful as XRP becoming or falling into a security designation or classification, as much of crypto is basically being suggested. It was not specific to XRP alone. So I think we can, take that part off of the table and keep our eyes open for everything that is headed our way. Now, looking at this is from the House Financial Services Committee hearing. Warren Davidson, crypto advocate and extremely knowledgeable on all things crypto and stable coins here, really says that US Tether is a time bomb and that regulators ought to get their arms around Tether. There's frankly more reason for the SEC to be looking at Tether than for them to be looking at Ripple and XRP. How about that one? Unquote, it says Mr. Whale. Warren Davidson goes on to say here, there isn't transparency or disclosure. They acknowledge that they have commercial paper, but they don't disclose what exactly that is. That's where I think that a framework that compels disclosure does provide investor protection. But it doesn't stop there, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look here, and I'm going to actually offer a suggestion that I believe we had learned through Brian Brooks, and I believe is the real approach forward. This is Bill Huizenga, and he's basically calling out the Undersecretary from the Treasury for not doing an analysis on whether stablecoins should be a security or not. Take a listen to this, and I think we start to get a clearer picture about what's actually going on here. Check it out.
I think I would need to defer to the SEC for its enforcement strategy, for its strategies about how to address stablecoin, but it...
Oh, hold on one second here.
That, close quote. While that may not be the most clear statement of intent, it does suggest that the chair believes that Congress needs to act in order or for most or all stablecoins to fall under the SEC's regulatory authority. Yet, during his testimony to the Senate, Chair Gensler stated in a somewhat contradictory way that quote, some of these tokens have been deemed to be commodities and many of them are securities, close quote. So I'm curious, will you be able to explain why the report did not include any analysis of policy issues under the securities laws as they pertain to stable coins? And was it discussed? And again, given that the SEC is a member of the working group, certainly if it wasn't discussed, why not?
Yes, of course. So the president's working group was convened to view stablecoins as a possible way to improve the payment system. And the mandate was to identify whether this new possible payment instrument, based on a new technology, would have the appropriate regulatory framework. And the goal was to identify gaps in regulation. As I mentioned in my testimony, this proposal builds on existing laws and regulations that apply, including SEC regulations that apply to stablecoins as an investment asset or a security. So
Did I miss something? I mean, it doesn't look like there was any analysis that was actually done on that.
No, we did not include what the existing securities were, but what is unique?
Hold on. I'm sorry, hold on. I'm sorry, Madam Secretary, but it's unclear already. So why would you not do that analysis? If we don't have a clear picture, why would you not have done that analysis?
Yeah, so
And she goes on to defer them to the SEC for more information and answers. And I think I've got an answer. Maybe they didn't do any analysis, Bill, because they've already decided that the bank lobby money has showed them the path forward and they're just going to let the banks handle it. No need to do any analysis, Bill. That's what's going on here. And by the way, I really cite and tag Brian Brooks here because he has shown us another way. And why not let private fintech companies innovate and let the banks hold the reserves with prudential supervision over those reserves? This keeps everybody honest. You split the baby so everybody can win. And let's face it, banks are not innovators. And I said yesterday, and I'm going to say it again very quickly, do we really want to give JP Morgan, who has been caught countless times manipulating the metals market or US Treasury bonds? We want to give them, we feel better giving them all of this control over issuing stable coins? Because what, they're so trustworthy? Oh, I don't think so. And in this little 49-second clip here, which you need to hear again because we're getting ready to show you the motivation very quickly here on why I believe what I think and talk about on this channel is not so cynical after all. Take a look.
Thank you, Chairwoman Waters, for that question. I would answer that in two parts. I think the first question is, should technology companies be allowed to issue stable coins? And I think the report recommends that stable coins be issued by insured depository institutions. And in that sense, then stable coins would not recommend that stable coins be issued by technology companies.
And there you have it. She goes on to repeat it basically again. She believes that the companies that have, the fintech companies that have created these assets, stable coins, should not be allowed to issue them. When I think there should be a partnership between the two, that relationship, right? Just like what the government could do with the stable coins and a digital dollar, a public-private relationship. You could have a relationship between the banks and the private sector to be able to issue these things, but hold the reserves to keep them honest in the bank itself. And now you get the best of both worlds with regulatory oversight that needs to be there, because Tether is obviously been in question. Now, very quickly, I can't read this article, but I'm going to show it just in case it's an actual copyright thing. Liberty Street Economics. Now I'm going to go back to this because that article basically says, and I'm afraid to show you more of it, but that article says, it could be a copyright issue, but that article basically breaks down and says stable coins are really relative to the early days of the free bank era prior to the Fed, right? So they're suggesting that that's a problem. Look, and I get it, but but the answer is not complete control by the banks. who are the banks all of a sudden? The banks are not some trustworthy entity, just like I cited with JP Morgan. So we're going to leave that there. Let's move to the next piece of information here, which is this, and let's get to the case, because this is something new that's going on here, and it's about new documents could aid Ripple in the SEC lawsuit. We get into this, let's take a look at it, because right here it's Stuart Alderati here, and basically if you get into this article, and I want to pick it up right here, the U.S. District Court Judge Annalisa Torres of Manhattan has ordered that the documents must be unsealed on February 17th. Once released, these documents will show that in 2012, Ripple received a legal analysis that XRP was not an investment contract, Ripple General Counsel Stuart Alderati said in a statement. He goes on to say, the fact that it took the SEC 8 years to suggest they disagreed with that analysis, while XRP traded in a massive global market, is baffling. The SEC could not immediately be reached for comment. Well, that's not exactly uncommon either, right? So, well, let's take a look at this now. This is a nice reminder before we move into the next piece of information here, because the next piece of information is really this. It's TAIG reminding us that this is the largest cruise ship in the world from Royal Caribbean, and you could fill 9 of them to full guest capacity with the XRP holders that are waiting for a response with the XRP class action lawsuit represented by none other than John Deaton. And take a look at this. So we're talking about Empower oversight here. They were submitting FOIA requests to the SEC to find records that were relevant to conflict of interest for the SEC versus Ethereum and the ICO and all of the information surrounding that. Well, Rosalind Layton here, rightfully so, who, by the way, picked up the story early on in the early days of Digital Asset Investor and myself, and then Digital Asset Investor got Charles Gasparino in from Fox News, and then things just snowballed from there. He has really led that charge. Hat off to Digital Asset Investor. But this is what's interesting. Rosalind Layton has been with this from day one here, and she says, so XRP was always a security which was purportedly obvious since 2013, even though the SEC didn't know until December 20th. Hinman said we, but he meant I. And now no responsive documents is actually 1,000 pages of records. The SEC arrogance is astounding. And what is she talking about? Well, she's talking about the same thing Eleanor Tarrant is commenting on, talking about, and I'm about to show you what she's talking about in 1 second, because the SEC actually told the Empower Oversight organization in the very early day, the first request of FOIA requests for these conflict of interest potential documents to be brought and given to them in a Freedom of Information Act, the SEC originally told the Empower Oversight organization to pound sand, right? And Eleanor Tarrant really doubles down, just as Rosalind Layton here, and says, the no records blunder by the SEC doesn't surprise me. As I've said before, the agency was fairly responsive in the early days when Fox Business Investigation was going, but then they went radio silent when asked to comment or correct our facts. This seems to be an MO by the SEC, doesn't it? So, after telling the Empower Oversight to pound sand, the Empower Oversight actually asked them to sign sworn affidavits, because I don't think they really believed at all that there wasn't any communications. And what do you know, lo and behold, crypto law shows us here, during the call, Mr. Verity and Mr. Tallarico asserted that the SEC has reviewed the record searches. They identified there was an error with them. And after correcting that error, what do you know? We've located approximately 1,000 pages of records responsive to the request of the Empower Oversight organization. Goes on to say here, this is how incredible these documents may become. This could be extremely, extremely damning for the SEC and everyone involved. Documents appear to be letters memorializing, apparently combative conversations between Empower Oversight and the SEC staff over claims that there were no responsive documents, now subject of litigation in group's investigation of potential conflict of interest of Inman and Clayton and Berger It goes on to say here, 128 call, staff claimed an error in previous search was corrected, and now more than 1,000 documents were uncovered. Listen to this. Link to Hinman Simpson Thacker request. Other searches ongoing. Further demanded details now are requested on the search methods. How about that one? Read the full document here about what's going on between them back and forth. Jeremy Hogan says here, so you think your girlfriend is cheating on you with a guy named John, and you ask her to search her phone for any communications with John. She says, well, I checked Facebook and I never messaged any guy named John. And you now are asking her to check the text messages also, because I ain't stupid.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.